hate how this weighs the shirt. Stupid microphone. Testing, 1, 2. First of all, I want to get one thing out of the way. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I love you. I'll see you later today. And happy Mother's Day to all the other moms out there. And speaking of which, I need to shower and shave because it's been a minute. So I'll be right back. Okay, I think we're good. Do I look presentable enough? I really need a haircut. So the last time I had a conversation with all of you, I had talked about how I was struggling. I went from 163.4 pounds back on April 1st, did 10 65 plus hour fasts in a row, dropped my weight down to 143. And then from April 30th all the way until May, what's the day today? May 11th. So all the way from April 30th until May 8th, which is 9 days, I ate for, I believe, 8 of those 9 days. And my weight went from 143 pounds on April 30th all the way up to 160.2 pounds, I believe, on the morning of May 9th. So that was about 2 days ago. This morning, I think it was around the 50-hour mark when I woke up. I stood on the scale, 50 hours, meaning fasted for 50 hours. I think I'm currently somewhere around the 56-hour fasted mark, maybe 55. But this morning I weighed in at 149 pounds, dropping 11.2 pounds in a 48-hour period. 11.2 pounds in 48 hours. Now those are just the facts. That is the weight on the scale, recordings for specific days, and you'll see some swings going from one end to the other. And ultimately, that's what I want to talk about today, are those swings, are those peaks and valleys when it comes to my weight loss journey, and most likely for many of you who might be watching this, your weight loss journey as well. So for those of you who might not know, today is day 553 of my journey. 553 days, which is, I believe, over a year and a half. I don't have a calculator in front of me, so excuse me for not having that readily available to you. A lot of what I'm talking about now is going to be similar to a few days ago, kind of just speaking off the cuff here, giving you my mental thoughts, or at least maybe vomiting the words to you, if you will. But in the last 553 days, I did the math on this one, I have not eaten for 328 of those days. So for 11 months, I haven't eaten in the last 18 months or so. But rest assured, in those 553 days, in the last year and a half of my journey, if you look at that small percentage, the 8 of the 9 days, or the, right? Is that what I said? 8 of the last 9 days. I have to look at my data. Regardless of all the days that I have eaten in a row, 9 days versus 553 days, it's a drop in the bucket. You also have to remember that in the last year and a half, it's not like I've just been performing a successful rolling fast over another rolling fast over another rolling fast. There have been peaks and valleys into what I'm doing. And really what I'm trying to say here is, for me, I know that this journey will never be perfect. I have already come to that conclusion. The things that I have learned from the first time I did this, when I lost the weight and then gained it all back, is that the accountability, is that showing up, is that being imperfectly consistent is what's going to keep me in the zone to keep doing what I'm doing moving forward. And because of that, because I have all of the tools that I've been using, all of the resources that I have, the fact that I show up every day, even in the last, and let's talk about the last 9 days then, right? Because that's the bigger issue at hand right now, is how did I get myself into this place? How can I stop myself from doing this again? And quite frankly, I don't have the answers to that right now. I don't have clear, definitive answers to why I do certain things every now and then. I have theories, I have thoughts about what triggers me and what gets me to that point. But as far as a solid, clear answer, I don't have one. And I really think that's because it's the, I always feel like I look dumb when I do this. It's the psychological part that is the tough part. One of the things that I tell a lot of people that I work with is, for many of us, we already know what we have to do when it comes to being healthy. Fasting is going to get you to lose weight. Exercising is great for that as well, but it's also great for your heart health. It's great to put on muscle. Putting on muscle is also very beneficial. Eating healthy and making good choices is obviously good things to do. Sleeping well, all of those things, right? We know how to do all of those things. So at the end of the day, why don't we just do it? Why don't we just do the right things all day, every day? And the only way I can really pinpoint this is to let you know, and it's to remind myself that I'm human and I'm imperfect. And I'm imperfect, is what I'm trying to say. And I think maybe for some of us, we don't want to accept that. We want to tell ourselves, because some of us might still be stuck in a very all or nothing mindset, that it is one way or no way at all. And then if we're attempting something, fasting, eating a specific way, exercising a specific way, timing your meals, whatever it might be that you're doing, we go 100% in, all in, doing one specific thing, or doing a number of specific things, but a very, very strict way of doing it. And the moment that it collapses, the moment we get tired of doing it, the moment we're not feeling it anymore, we give up. We walk away from it. We move on to the next, whatever it is that's out there, and try again. Whether it's fasting for longer, whether it's changing the diet, whether it's upping the exercise. For many of us, we find ourselves going one extreme to the other. Oh, my foot's asleep. Gotta stretch my legs. And I think the big difference with where I'm at today versus where I was a couple of years ago when I first lost the weight and gained it all back is I'm here. I put that video out a couple of days ago, completely unedited, because I just wasn't feeling it. I didn't want to edit the video. I didn't want to listen to myself or hear myself in the middle of a struggle. But I knew I had to upload it. I knew I had to vomit those words, right? I knew I had to say something, because for me, being accountable is super important. For me, showing up is super important. What's really interesting when I think about this is, this far into my journey, at least for a good while, I was like, nothing is really going to bog me down. Nothing is going to throw me off completely where I feel like I'm starting to lose my control. And a big reason for that is because when I initially lost the weight and I went on vacation and I came back from vacation, I was able to get back onto a fast and continue my routine. And then down the road, I would face some obstacles. I would go on another vacation. I would experience burnout. I would experience, well, I think those are the two things: vacations and the occasional burnout experience. And in that time, I've continued to get more experienced, more knowledgeable, and stronger with my will and my discipline, and understanding that imperfect consistency is what is going to keep me pushing forward. But this particular moment, After doing 10 65-hour fasts in a row, after eating strict carnivore, and people who are watching this, people who I regularly coach, we've had some of these discussions, so this might not be new to you. And I appreciate all of you that I had talked to, for many of you to ask me how I'm doing, for many of you to reach out. Also, for anybody watching this right now, yes, I did receive your emails. Yes, I have read through them. Yes, I will reply to you back or reply to you all. I do want to thank you for showing kindness and letting me know that we're in it together. It absolutely means so much to me. I also don't want you to think I'm ignoring you, because I'm not. The last couple of days, especially when I was struggling, it was hard for me to just even open the email and read it. But being able to do so and seeing what many of you had to say, it is very touching to me. It's why I'm very proud of this community. It's also why I protect it in such a way. So let me tell you about these theories, about the last couple of days for me, how I struggled, how I was able to overcome it, if you want to call it that, and what things look like moving forward. So number one, I think I've mentioned these in the last video. I haven't had a chance to really think about it all that much, so I don't know everything I said exactly. But for me, I think that it could have been a combination of things. It could have been doing 10 65+ hour fasts in a row and then not having a game plan moving forward. On my Wednesday autophagy live stream, I talked about, and that's where I told people I was struggling for the first time. I told on the spreadsheet, on the communal spreadsheet that we shared for my goal that week, I just said practice imperfect consistency. I didn't say I was going to do X number of hours of fasting, because I told myself, no, you know what? You got this. Let it be whatever it is that you're doing, you're going to be fine. And I think giving myself no real game plan kind of put me in this place of, well, you know what? I don't really have a game plan. Let me just hit the timer, which I'm very thankful for. Don't get me wrong. Hitting the timer, going for my walks, still going to the gym to lift weights, all of those things haven't changed. Honestly, the only thing that's changed over the last week and a half is the frequency of my eating, is eating more than I should have, is maybe some days feeling like, yeah, the control isn't there, but never got to the point of binging completely. It never got to the point of I'm not going for my walks. It never got to the point of I'm not going to the gym. It never got to that point. Although it did get to some points for me where I did feel my old habits coming back. That's what I felt. I think a big part of this too, and again, these are just theories, right? These are just things that are going through my head because I know there is no definitive answer. The thing about what I'm doing is 553 days in, my old habits have been an old habit for 40 plus years. They're 4 decades deep. They're so ingrained in me. Those types of behaviors, those types of habits, I know that they just cannot be completely wiped. It's not just going to be a complete 180, even though I know that most of the time I'm on my game. Like I said, 553 days of my journey, and 328 of those days have been in a fasted state. So I know that overall, the good days outweigh the bad. And maybe bad isn't even the word. That the good days outweigh the more difficult days, the days that I struggle, the days that are challenging. But in 0 of those days have I given up. One thing I said on one of my coaching sessions as well is for the entire month of April, every single time I refed, I filmed myself. I didn't film myself eating the entire meal, but I literally had a camera in my face for every single refeed with pretty much everything I ate. And on April 30th, when I went to Hot Pot, I was like, I don't have a camera in front of me. I get to just enjoy this moment with people I love, people I care about, people that are close to me, and I can move on with my life. But eventually, I found myself eating the next day. I think I took a day off after that, or I fasted after that. A day off isn't particularly just fasting, but every day after that, I continued eating. And I had a very difficult time getting back into a fasting regimen. I said this earlier or in my last video, but I am going through some personal things. I am going through some personal struggles, and I do feel like that plays a part of it too. I think the one thing I should also point out is just because I'm struggling, just because I'm having a difficult time, doesn't mean that me changing the way I eat is going to fix it. Me restricting myself in a specific type of way is not going to fix it, because the psychological part is the hard part for me. When I found fasting, I did it my way. I didn't do it in a way that somebody told me I have to fast for X amount of hours. I didn't have someone tell me you have to eat this specific type of way. I didn't have someone tell me you need to walk X amount of steps per day. What ended up happening for me on my journey was I'm going to fast for as long as I can, as long as I feel comfortable, as long as I can function like a normal human being. I am then going to eat after I have a certain amount of time that passes where I can't really fast any longer. I'm going to eat until satiety, and then I'm going to fast again for as long as I can. And as long as the scale drops and I feel good, I will continue this process. This is something that nobody taught me. This is something that I can't even teach you, because you are not going to realize what you're capable of doing, what feels good, what is sustainable, until you go out there and try it. Whether it comes to your fasting regimen, the way you eat, how you eat. But for many of us, me included, this struggle that I'm on, it isn't going to be fixed by a specific type of diet. It isn't going to be fixed by doing XYZ and only having this and only, it doesn't work that way. For me, I've had to find what my journey looks like by doing, by trying things out. And it doesn't mean that I'm not open-minded to doing different things, because I absolutely am. These are things that I want to be able to do, which is why I went and experimented with carnivore. Because for me, these are tools that I continue to use in the future. But the harder part about it is the mental part. If my head is not in the game, if I can't even get my control issues, right, in control, then that part has to be fixed first before I can move forward. So I look at it like this. For me, when the time comes to change things around, I will. When it's time to change my fasting regimen, I will. When it's time to change the way I eat, I will. These are things that I have continued to do day in and day out. Every single day that passes by, even though some of you might think it's the same thing over and over and over again, yeah, that could be true here and there, but for me, I'm gaining the knowledge. For me, I'm being accountable. For me, I'm showing up. For me, I am learning things about myself that I haven't before, because instead of just turning around and walking away, I'm here instead and saying, okay, I'm struggling. I don't know where my head is at right now, but let me share these thoughts and figure out what my next steps are. So what are those next steps with where I'm currently at? And for me, nothing changes. I'm going to fast. I'll perform rolling fasts right now in my head. they're 65s. 65s are tried and true. I could do 90s, and if I want to push the weight further down quicker, I could do that, or I could do something that's more sustainable to me and do 65s. Listen, I was 160.2 pounds on May 9th. It's May 11th right now, and I'm back down to 149 pounds. So overall, after doing 10 65-hour fasts in a row, I'm up 6 pounds after eating 8 of those 9 days. And I think my goal moving forward is to just make sure that I continue working on the mental part of this. Is that I continue working on making sure that I'm in the right headspace and that this does feel sustainable, that it feels like I can continue pushing forward without having to change too much here and there. But other than that, nothing really changes. I don't have any big plans of changing the way the diet is until I can get my head in the right space first. I felt like I was there in April. I felt really strong about what I was doing. I felt that doing strict carnivore really put me in a good place because I was able to limit calories. I was able to limit certain types of foods. It showed me that I can do this versus not being able to do something like that before and having it trigger me to completely go off the rails. But I've also realized that maybe pushing that hard back in April got me to this place this past 8 or 9 days. But I also know that there's a combination of not only doing all of that for the month of April, but going through some personal things right now, and then just wanting to give myself a little rest, a little mental relief, a little relief physically from just doing something so strict. And so it's finding that balance and figuring out what that balance looks like. But nothing is really going to change what I'm currently doing. Fasting is my foundation. Fasting is my foundation. For me, it's the cornerstone, the foundation of what I need to do to reset myself, to get myself going again. What got me back into fasting? How did I get myself out of eating 8 of the last 9 days? I just did it. I don't know how else to explain it. It wasn't like there was something specific that said, okay, you got to get back on it. I think I've been doing this for so long that the habits just find themselves kicking themselves back in. It doesn't mean that I wasn't in a place of, oh man, I'm a little scared here. Am I going to be able to get back on it? But eventually I was able to. I think one of the things that was helpful for me is the weather is getting warmer here in Chicago. And that means that wearing sweaters and hoodies aren't going to be the answer when it's all of a sudden 80 something degrees outside. So that was kind of a motivator for me. For you, I don't know what that looks like. For you who might be struggling in the moment, I get it. I know what it's like. I've cycled through it. It happens. I don't have the answers for everything, and you might not have those answers either. But what you do have is this community. What you do have is a bunch of other people who are struggling in a similar type of way. What you do have is imperfect consistency. What you do have is a timer available to you to make sure that you are still being mindful about what you're doing. What you do have is me in your corner because you're not alone. I am very thankful about where I'm at today, the fact that I can still get through this, find myself back in a rhythm versus where I used to be 2.5 years ago. Yeah, it's been about 2.5 years, right? When I had gained all the weight back. I was able to pick myself back up in about a week and a half's time versus being gone for almost 2.5 years. Gaining all of the weight back, becoming or having uncontrolled blood sugar, high blood pressure, locking myself in my apartment, not talking to anyone again. And let me add that in there. During this entire time, I didn't miss any sessions. I did all my coaching sessions. I showed up. As much as I didn't want to make a video a couple of days ago, I did, and I put it out there. Was it a little late? Should I have done it earlier? I should have. I was really stuck in a spot at the moment. But I look at that, and I look at that as a win. I didn't binge this entire time. That is a huge win. I still went for my walks every day. That is a huge win. I still went to the gym and I lifted weights regardless of who might see me. Even though in my head I was like, oh God, they're gonna be like, oh man, Jerome gained all that weight again. They don't even know my name. But you know what I mean? Those things, it's such a huge improvement from where I used to be. And I'm so thankful for that. And I want to thank all of you for being there with me and being able to hear this out, and hopefully it resonates with you in a specific type of way. I think the big reminder here is to just tell yourself to keep going. It doesn't matter how long you're fasting for. Hit the timer. It doesn't matter what the scale says. Log the data. It doesn't matter if you had a bad day of eating. You can always make better choices the next day. You can always make different decisions when you're done with your refeed. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Practice imperfect consistency. All right, everyone. I need to edit this video, and then I'm picking my mom up, and we're gonna get, oh, my monitor went off. Now the lighting's probably gonna be weird. Okay, we're back. I need to pick my mom up. We're going to all you can eat Korean barbecue. And then I'm probably gonna eat something later today as well. And then I'm gonna be live streaming tomorrow evening. And we'll have this conversation again. So if you have questions, have those questions ready. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everyone.